Hello. Hello. Is okay. So I was trying to set up some server stuff this morning, and you know, the place where software is horrible is anytime it tries to do anything with the operating system, like, oh, we need certain files to be in a certain place and we need to run certain commands and all this stuff. And so it was going horribly. And at one point it was trying to run a program and the program didn't exist. And the error message that we output from OS run command did not say what the command line was that failed. And so that is BS. That is a bad function. And so I'm going in on Windows and fixing it. And we're going to fix it on Linux too. And the thing is, in general, you have this thing where at least on Linux and Windows and maybe other operating systems, right? You have an error code that a function will return, and that code gets translated to a string. But the type of the error number is different everywhere. So I think we're going to be like error code. Let's go to Windows. So get last error is U32. So error OS error code. Should I just call it error? I don't know. So we're going to do that. We're going to return OS error code here. And for errno on Linux, we will also make this definition. And then get error value and string. So firstly, we can go get error string. Okay. And this on Windows will be like this kind of a thing. Does Windows have standard error? This has nothing to do with standard error, right? Yes, Windows has standard error. It's this. But we're talking about like error codes that functions return. Did I get Ubuntu snap? I mean, I do have it running on the laptop, but last I checked, we still sort of had an issue. Maybe that's fixed. Is error code the same as exit code? No, it's very different. Error code is what functions return somehow when they don't work. And on operating systems, there tends to be a uniform set of those. I'm not exactly sure why, because I don't necessarily think it's that useful, except that then those are uniform input into this other function, I guess. If the function was successful, it returned a value greater than 32. That's great, because that's just 32 times better than returning 1. Why wouldn't you want that? Why wouldn't you want that? Okay, get error string. So we're going to go error code. And actually, so are we going to stop deprecating A functions because they're going to be UTF-8? I forget, like, is there some constraint on what? Don't you have to like set your code page or some crap like that to get UTF-8 out of the A functions? I think that's trash. Error codes just exist because C does not support multiple return values. Yeah, I think that's right. What is my favorite language outside of this one? TIS 100. Okay. We may need some caffeine soon. Um, I think I'm sugar crashing because I just had some ice cream. And yeah. Where is the thing? I know that there's some documentation about A functions returning UTF-8 now, but I don't remember what is necessary to make that happen. And if anyone could remind me where to look on the internet, that would be great. You almost bought TeaRunners? I mean, for most people, it's too much tea. For me now, it's too much tea because I go out all the time. But let's fix that. Because Golden Mouth Fang was a big winner yesterday, we're going to try Golden Mouth Fang. So let me go get some water. But if anyone can tell me what page to open to tell me about returning UTF-8 from the A functions. I mean, otherwise I could just call the W function. That would be fine. That would be fine. Okay, guys, also, if the Golden Mouth Fang doesn't do it for me, I'm going to bust out the Harney & Sons Hot Cinnamon Spice, which, as far as I know, I haven't had in 2022 at all since I moved. Crazy. And I got a fresh bag of Golden Monkey from Jeff Bezos. So, like, I am so set. I do not think you can use A functions with Unicode unless you are recent Windows 10 build only. Yeah, okay. So there are two separate questions. There's what should I do now? And I think what should I do now is just call format message W and translate it just like we do in the compiler. But in the long term, you know, for the bindings that we were giving people to use from this language, right? I had, you know, we provided bindings for the A functions, but I was marking them as deprecated, which gives you a compiler warning when you use them. And the reason why is because, I mean, for format message, it doesn't really matter. But for a lot of the other functions, like, you know, whatever function it is to get the name of a file or whatever, right? If someone in Korea has a home folder with their name in it in Korean and you try to use the A version, historically it would fail and give you a trash string that you then couldn't turn around and reuse, right? So that's why I had marked all these deprecated. But it makes sense to me that if they're going to make this work from now forward, that we should undeprecate the A things and just like let people use them. So that's my theory. So my theory is I should undeprecate this. In fact, we can go through and undeprecate all of them, but I should still use the W here. Hopefully that makes sense. I mean, my min spec is anything 64-bit. I don't want to unnecessarily restrain what this runs on. It's just the 64-bit is just like, that means I have a lot less headache to think about when building the compiler, right? Yeah, but I don't want to restrict it too much. Did I just use Microsoft and make this work in the same sentence? I know. I mean, I'm assuming that they still have programmers who can call a UTF-8 conversion function. I'm assuming that they still have that level of skill, but I realize that this is not necessarily a correct assumption given the things that we have seen from them lately. It's like, dude, the wide character thing has been one of the crappiest parts of Windows for so long. It's like, why don't they just fix it? You know what? Because I just kind of had a low energy day today, I'm going to do the hot cinnamon spice tea. Screw it. We're going to go straight for that. It smells wonderful still. Never mind the fixes that you program in JavaScript. I mean, I guess. Like, and the problem is they get all this positive feedback for that. Like, everyone on the internet talks about how amazing Visual Studio Code is, when it's like, dude, this program has 5% of the functionality of Visual Studio in 1996. So like, what are they even talking about? It's like, nobody knows what they're talking about anymore. It's crazy, dude. What do you mean it's a problem in C#? It just works. Yeah. Yeah. Have they kind of, this is what I'm wondering, have they kind of like moved on from C# to JavaScript now? Because, you know, the whole theory was, if we just rewrite Visual Studio in C#, it'll be good now. And now they're like rewriting it in JavaScript, except they can't figure out how to rewrite the whole thing anymore. So they're just sort of doing some of it as TypeScript. God, what a poop language. I feel bad for everybody. Guys, serious talk. Let me wait till the tea finishes while I formulate what I'm trying to say. I mean, I just don't see how any of this ends well, I guess, is what I'm saying. Like, people seem to think that it's fine or that it's gonna get better, but like, I don't, unless everybody changes the way they do things, I don't understand what anyone's thinking is gonna happen. Have I tried pitching this language to the NSA? No. They already uses it if they want to. That is true. That is true. Also, like, again, you know, the government being as bureaucratic as it is has surely bought into all sorts of like these bad ideas of how to program. Like the government is like 25 years behind anyone else in terms of understanding what's a good way to program, right? Like that's just factual. Who is 25 years ahead? We are, man. I mean, we shouldn't be 25 years ahead. We're just doing now what people should have done around the year 2000 if they had had their head straight. But it ain't going to happen if we don't do it. So what do you want? Don't I think there are some parts of the government that are way ahead? No, I don't. I don't believe that at all. Why didn't I do that around the year 2000? Because I was too young and inexperienced to know what is good. But there should have been people with 22 years more experience than me who knew what to do. And why didn't they do it? But seriously, guys, like, okay. I just, once again, this whole technological infrastructure that we have is so giant and bloated and convoluted and poorly put together. It's not going to stand up if somebody actually starts attacking it competently. And just nobody has attacked our technical infrastructure yet, really. I don't think things are going to go very well once that starts. Like, it's going to be so bad. People have no idea. People have no idea. So we just kind of have to hope it doesn't happen till we get our shit together. But the thing is, it's very hard to convince people that anything's wrong. So I don't know what to do about any of this. Anyway, let's go back to formatting error messages because we're going to need lots of error messages in the future. Oh, that's what file I'm already in. I must be calling this already somewhere. In Hotloader. I don't know what ignore inserts means. Null error code. Default weight. Yeah, we should do that. Okay. So we're going to format message this null error code message buffer like why is that? Yeah. I guess we just, yeah, okay. So we're going to just do this. Let's not call that LT message buff. No, it's fine. Okay. Yes. Like the Windows, the actual error strings actually have new lines in them. Oh, I should pour my tea before it gets too nasty. It might already be too nasty. All right. This is going to be a treat. Yum, yum. It's mildly oversteeped. I miss this tea. I should drink it more again. I should also buy a fresh bag, but I should drink the rest of this bag because it's good. Okay. Can I advise must-read books for programmers? Books aren't going to help you program. Programming will help you program. Did I intend to remove local free? Yes. Oh, that's a Windows thing. Okay. Okay. I didn't realize that that was a thing. I just ignored it for some reason. Oopsie. All right, thanks for catching that. Okay, so let's start telling the people. We don't need to say that. We just say this. Okay. You can't embed 3D objects according to who? Of course you can. What do you even mean you can't embed 3D objects? Okay, so we got this getter. I don't know why it's taken me half an hour to do this. That's my energy level today. So we've got this. We're going to have to do this function in Linux as well. Let's also make... okay, so this is just going to go... You know, it's just going to do this. And then... Okay. I don't even know if this is the right place for this code to live. Anyway, oh geez. So I want to go to server and I want to build compiler. Oh, whoops. Local free. Wait, we don't know local free? Don't even have local free, which means hot loader was missing that. Local free function. At least Stack Overflow was not the top hit this time. H local. I bet H local just is handle. Right? All right. Define H local. No, win32. Handle, yes. Okay. Wait, that's a handle? So we have to cast that pointer anyway. That's not going to compile otherwise, right? I guess it does. Oh, because handle is like void pointer. I don't know, man. All right, so we'll also compile Sokoban. Okay, so when I run this now, oh, I have to. What do we have to do here? All right. So we still expect this to fail. When running the command, okay, there we go. This is what the information I wanted. Okay, so we don't have compiler release here. See, this is a much better error message than unable to create the process error code 2. Tell us what we were trying to do. Now I know, oh, we're trying to run this executable in this location, right? Legibility when things go wrong is super duper important. Super duper important. Okay. So let's document that. We have to do that in Windows or in Linux as well. Okay. OS run command now tells you what command it was trying to run when it is unable to launch an executable. It also prints out the error string as given above. Okay, cool. Am I a believer in programming practice or warm up? No. Like the reasons, okay, as someone who has done a fair amount of martial arts training, the reasons those things exist is because you can't actually train the fighting skill all the time. You can't actually be fighting people all the time, or you would break down your body and you would die. So in those fields, they need to have a way to train without doing that. In programming, you don't have that problem. You can just program for real. You don't have to do exercises. So that they display in the text editor. Oh, I see. Well, you know, we could make that happen. Yeah, like, no, just program. Like everybody wants all these excuses of things they can do that are not real programming just so that they can avoid real programming. It's very bizarre. If you actually like programming, program. If you don't, you know, go do something else. Is your language really a language if it doesn't ship with its own editor? I mean, I'm sure we will eventually. It's just, I'll be the only person who uses it. Will get error string always allocate. It doesn't really, like the fact that it allocates from temporary storage means you wouldn't free it anyway. So It doesn't, we don't have to allocate. But also, this is the wrong, thinking about performance on an error message report function is the wrong thing. If you're returning so many error messages, like if you're printing out so many error messages that you care about the performance of that, you're doing something deeply wrong. I forgot to fix the leak in Hotloader. You are correct. Yeah, I'm a little bit frazzled. We also have not done this on Linux yet. So, but let's go to, so we do this local free. Let's go to Hotloader. I don't like this trying to be overly compact bullshit here. Just no. Do that. And then why are we doing this anyway? I think we'll log it here. Log error. But we can't tell you what error because the error formatter failed. You know, oh, let's not even do this. Let's do this. Like, why are we even... I still don't know what ignore inserts does, but there we go. And we'll just go... Okay, let's make sure that still compiles. Let's do this. Okay. Now what? Linux version. Wow, are we going to even get to Banana's resurrection? I'm so slow today. I'm programming at 0.0003 Carmax per parsec. All right, so... Okay. What do we do on Linux to get error no? There's got to be some function to get error no anyway, right? Because error no is like a frickin'... Oh, we have a function error no. Okay. This is fucking crap right here, by the way. Okay, we're going to have to do a pass over these. So let's pasta this. These implementations will be shorter. So error description is get error string error code return. Okay, that's fine. Get error string. It's also going to be simpler. Stir error. What does stir error do? The string must not be modified by the application, but may be modified by a subsequent call to stir error. That's crap. On the same thread, I hope. Stir error R is similar to stir error, but is thread safe. Oh my God. Why did you not just make stir error thread safe? Like, oh. Oh my God. All right. What's stir error L? Maps error num to a locale dependent error message. Yes, stir error was written before threads. That's fucking fine though. Just make it work. Just make it thread safe rather than adding all this other shit. Like, it's unbelievable, dude. Like, some functions you maybe need, like functions that inherently like write to a global that you can read or something, you can't exactly make thread safe that way without breaking old semantics. But with this one, there's no change in semantics if it's thread safe or not. Why do I have to put up with all the bad work that people have done? All right, so I'm hoping we have like stir error R or something. Let's see where it is. It is commented out. POSIX bindings. Why is it in socket? H stir error. Get adder info stir error. What about regular vanilla stir error? Wait, what? We literally don't have it anywhere? All right. Well, so I did this at one point. So I'm just going to pasta this in here for now, and we'll see what happens. Because I don't like the way the POSIX binding whole thing has happened. Oh, it takes a buffer, just like it takes a village. Does it not make sense to have a thread unsafe version that's faster? No, it doesn't. Mutexes are very, very fast now. And we're talking about getting an error string, which again is not a performance critical operation. Takes a buffer. I don't want to take a buffer. Well, whatever. Okay, we can't really... Let me test this on the Linux laptop. Like, the thing you also have to realize, okay? The entire mess that we have with software is because there's too much code and it's too complicated, right? If there were less code with the same number of programmers... Whoops, I just knocked something into the... If there were less code with the same number of programmers, then every programmer would have more attention per line of code, right? So, like, it's an imperative to reduce the amount of code that is happening. And in fact, we are doing the opposite. So if you look at a bunch of diddly shit stuff like stir error and stir error L and stir error R, two of those functions just simply should not exist. All right? Why? Because it's just too simple of a thing to have that much code for. And to make people think about which one they're going to call, and it's not a performance critical function, right? Just have it be stir error and be done with it. Why would they allow stir error to be mutable? I don't know, but that's what the documentation says. Like, maybe they think they're somehow gonna, like, call Google Translate to translate the error. All right, so let me make sure that this at least passes tests. Multiply the amount of time anyone ever had to think about stir error RL times the number of people and times it's been used, and all that time is net negative to planet Earth. Exactly. Exactly. Also think about all the people implementing libcs that had to do all this stuff. I mean, that's a much smaller number, but still. Then those libcs are lower quality because if those people didn't have to do all these frickin' stir errors, they would be focusing on other things and more bugs would have been fixed or whatever. It's like people just don't get this. It's so simple, but people don't get it because they don't want to get it. All right. Let's not check in the get wrecked stuff. That is not done. Okay. But yes, what you said is exactly right. All these things have costs, and the costs are actually very large if you multiply them out. And now, of course, stir error is far from the only thing in the libc that's like this. So take how many things like this are there like this that should have been pared back, right? Many. It's like it's an ecological disaster, basically, right? Okay, so I'm building the compiler on the Linux, and then we're going to see. It probably doesn't compile, let's face it. Dude, I want to make an operating system. I just can't. Cannot do it right now. Did I get a working Linux laptop? I did. So, by the way, guys, on Dell laptops and possibly other PCs now, they get into a condition where they just won't turn on, and it's a BIOS bug. And to ever get them to turn on again, you have to open up the laptop, taking out all the screws and not losing them, and disconnect the battery, and then hold down the power button for 30 seconds. And then reconnect the battery and re-screw in the laptop, and then you can turn your laptop on. That is where we fucking are in the year 2022. I don't know what people are talking about when they say there isn't a problem. And by the way, I know this because it happened to me and I had to do this yesterday. All right. Oh, I forgot to define OS error code. Now I will try to load the file in Emacs so I can edit it. Except, of course, that takes 30 seconds because it's frickin' Windows SL. Dude. What type is Erno, by the way? Let's find out about that. S32. Emacs is now going to be frozen for 30 seconds while I lose the file. Your IT have predefined settings for BIOS and strong warnings not to change it. Yeah, I mean, this laptop shipped in a state where that happens. So, all right. Error. What did I call it? OS error code. And then set error no. So there's an OSX as well. All right. So now I will try to build again. Ah, it compiles now. So I guess I will make a really small program. I think there's a really small program that should test this. Also, will take 30 seconds to create that file. I feel like nobody wants to buy Apple laptops anymore because they're old and crappy and the keyboards are terrible. So the price is low. What else to buy? I mean, yeah, basically everything's terrible. Like I use a Razer here. It's the least bad laptop that I've found. It's still terrible. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to import process, and I'm going to say code desk is, what is it called? Get error value in string. Okay. My declaration for stir error R is not good because it doesn't know about libc. All right. That's going to take 30 seconds to load that file. Okay. Stir error. Oops. Wait, stir error R. R, like a pirate. Stir error R returns an int. Okay, what does this return? Return 0 on success. Like, and then it returns error no again. Should we just ignore that for now? I'm just going to say OS did not return us a valid string for this error. Invalid error number question mark. Wait, stir error R? Stir error R doesn't return a pointer to U8. Oh wait, yes it does. Wait, I'm so confused. There are two stir error R's. There's XSI compliant. Which one is it? How do you have two with the same signature but different return types? What is even happening here? Since this is GNU/Linux, is it this one? Okay, it's the Gary GNU version. Or a pointer to some immutable string. I see. Okay. So I know that I have a thing that converts from a C style string. Maybe not. Why is this taking so long? Oh my God. So, yeah. Okay, it finally works. Congratulations. Oops. I had modifications on imgui/Unix. What the hell was going on there? I guess this got regenerated. And it has some new stuff. All right, that's fine, actually. Well, so do I work on the gross get wrecked bug? I think so. I'm in a slow mood, but sometimes working on annoying bugs is a good thing to do when you're in a slow mood, because then you're saving your hype mood credits for times when you're working on something hard. So that's what I'm going to say that I'm doing. I'm also going to make a little tea. And because it's getting late, we're going to do a green tea. We have 2 packets of tangerine pear green. I hope somebody noticed that the other time. Which one is newer? This one is newer. So we're going to try tangerine pear green. Can anyone confirm or deny if the Apple M1 GPU would have any problem with clustered lighting? I mean, I feel like that's been fine for a while. Like, the real question is how many objects or whatever, right? Like GPUs have been able to do that for a while, functionally. Like, haven't they? Like that. It's almost, it seems to me like it's almost impossible to like support Vulkan and not be able to do that. Right? WebGL. Well, there's your anytime the word web is involved, that's your problem. Just don't even worry about it. All right. Waiting for this T to steep. Now, okay, so I was working on GetRect and I was having this annoying problem that we noticed yesterday, I think, or the day before. And it would just be great to go to bed knowing this is fixed. And I was working on it and I fixed like one part of the problem and it got worse. So now it used to be that like every single time I try to click, it would require 2 clicks. Now it works fine for 10 clicks. And then after that, every other click doesn't work. So that'll work. This one won't. This one will. This one won't. Oh, that one did. So basically every other click, but then sometimes not. And like, I don't even know what to think about that. It looks to me like it's getting killed. So if you see this fade out, it like when it doesn't work, it like drops off, right? But here it fades out slower, but there it drops. So it's like someone's deselecting the damn thing. Now I was looking at this morning and it was a thing about deactivating the text input. Oh. Yeah. All right, I'm remembering some of the thoughts that I had been having about how I would like to implement this instead. Because we're doing some stuff that's a little bit janky anyway. I don't know how many minutes it's been. I'm going to let it keep steeping. So there's weird stuff going on. What makes this complicated is that for some reason, I share a text input widget among all these guys. That might just be a stupid idea. Like I'm not sure why I really do that at this point, but I'm still conceiving of text input as a heavyweight widget. And you know, if you have a page with like 100 fields like this, you don't actually need text inputs for any of them because you're not typing anything yet, right? So the idea is they don't have any kind of text input instantiated. And then when you start clicking on one, now it has one. Maybe that's dumb and not necessary, but it's how it works right now. And so I would like to just fix this problem while keeping that way. And the problem is like, you know, it's something about we're switching from one to the other one, and then, you know, we like deactivate the widget, but it already belongs to the other dude instead of the first dude. I don't know. I might be too tired and too grumpy to think about this for real, but we could sort of go into the functions and make them a little less hacky, sacky. Can you see the click handler? I mean, so what happens is in number input, this means we're clicking right here. And so we say grab a text input, set the text to be the text of this thing, activate the text input. Now, when we say this just started inputting is a thing that I added that I think I'm just gonna do this down here. I don't think this will change anything. Okay. Now, one of the things is that when we call activate here, we don't really pass a text input state. And we can't because we don't know what it is. Okay, here's the thing that I want to do. When we call, oh, we're passing loc here. I don't know if this is really going to help. This might just be, this is like just, even this morning when I was fresher and thinking about this, this was like just be, oh God, I have to pour the green tea or it's going to be horrible. Green tea really oversteeps badly, guys. I'm not going to pour it all the way to the bottom for that reason. Like, it's just, I don't have a clear picture of what events are happening in what order. It's a little strong, but we poured it in time. And like my brain doesn't want to think about it for whatever reason, and that makes it harder. Like if I were hyped to understand what's happening here, it would feel different, but I'm like, oh man, I have to, So yeah. All right, let's just, I believe the behavior of this thing that we just did will be the same. Well, oh, we need a hash. Oh. Okay. Boom. Boom. I did something wrong. Stop using state. What did I do? I don't really know. Okay. Old is equal to, oh. I have to stop using state on this thing. That's just keeping me honest there. Okay, so that clicks. It's complaining to me. A widget was drawn more than once. Oh. See, it thinks I'm using... we can worry about that later. Okay. 1, 2. So now it's not even waiting 10 clicks. Now it's just doing it. Oh, but it also... It's like literally dragging every time now. Guys, what the actual fuck is going on? I thought this was going to be an easy bug fix, and it just keeps getting worse. It just keeps getting worse. Okay. See, most of this code is quite simple and came out nicely, and this part is not simple. Why is it not simple? Something about the interaction of these things, right? Let's just not even do this right now. Like, maybe that's a good idea to do separately later, but why don't I just, because we know if we're clicking, I think that might be better to do. And I'll explain why if it actually makes sense. Click, click. Oh my God, guys. Are we going to get 10? 11, 12. Oh shit. Okay, we're still dragging sometimes. But like we have 100%. Okay. So sometimes I'm a very smooth brain individual, right? So the weird interaction was happening that I saw this morning was because, like I said, we at least we're getting it 100% of the time. We're getting drags in there, which will be the next thing that we fix. The problem was happening because we were switching the text widget and then deactivating the old widget, and it thought it still owned the text widget, and you would think that that would be easy to check, but it's actually not that easy to check for reasons that are hard to think about. Now, if I'm clicking, we know we're going to activate ourselves this frame, and activating ourselves calls active widget deactivate all because it's like, look, there's only one active widget at a time. So like, why don't I just call it first and make sure the order of those operations isn't reversed? Very simple solution, and I don't know why I didn't frickin' think about it, guys. Because, oh my God. Yeah, basically we activate the input, and then I think this, I don't know. It's just, there was a thing happening where we were already active and then we're deactivating the old thing, and that calls a callback. Like when you set your widget up, you can say, here's a callback to call when you deactivate me. And that callback was deactivating the text input, but that text input was a common input that we were both using, right? And this was just a way to say, let's just make that happen first before we do this. Okay. Maybe throw in a test if you aren't already active. I mean, yeah, it's not if you aren't already active because there's like different entities at play here, sort of. But anyway, so that part is solved. Let's chalk that W up. It's cold in here too. Look at all the value. Okay, I already called this one solved because I thought I'd solved it. And then I clicked more than 10 times and I was like, oh. This is actually solved now. But now we want to fix the drag thing. Yeah, there's only ever one real text input instance for all the number input fields. You can have multiple text inputs that your program sets up and whatever, but when we create them internally for our own widgets, I was just like, it's kind of wasteful to have a lot. Let's share it instead. And I kind of feel like long term that's going to be a bad idea anyway, but that is just how it works right now. Let me plug in my other laptop. Yeah. Okay. So now what? Just put a semicolon here. We use semicolons every day. Python? They ruined Python for you. Okay, well, I'm sorry about that. So, the drag thing. I wonder if that is also due to, like, maybe when we reset the thing, we're not resetting some state about where the cursor was. Last displayed text X. So we need to check all this stuff. So when we do set text, we go clear text and append text. On the text input. So that could well be screwing it up because we feel like the text moved. Are these being drawn right justified or left justified? They're left justified. So the text X should be the same each time anyway. Okay. But like, look, if I click left and then right, we get a drag. If I click here, we don't get a drag. We don't, well, I mean, we get small drags, but like if I click on the left and then on the right, big ass drag, left, right. So I mean, I feel like it's this. Let's pretend. Like, suppose we do that 100% of the time. Does it go away? It seems to, yes. No. Interesting. Okay. Wait, what is text X? Is that the right variable? No. Hold on. I feel like we want this to be mouse X. Because text X is where you're starting to draw the text. Type given S32. Okay, so now that wasn't right. So now our cursor is not showing up in the right place. Oh, no, this is supposed to be where, like, sometimes I don't read the code enough. No, this is literally where does the text start? Which is different when we're clicking back left and right. Got it. Okay, I see. I see. Okay, so this definitely does need to get reset when let me just go to this thing. Common text input. Grab a common text input. Let's just do this. There's a get state for text input function. Come on, man. Find state for text input. Okay. Let's see what else we might want to reset. I mean, we should just... Oh, we literally just store it on there. Okay. I just want to destroy the state, because if I tweakily fix certain variables like this, that's error prone in the long term. Oh, but we don't. All right. Let's do it this way. Let's let it be error prone. Active widget has a widget type. Okay, so that's all. All right. So we're just going to do this. Boom. Hopefully that's good. Actually, it's got to be this, right? Okay, find state for text input. All right. Dang it. The cursor doesn't go to the right place. Did I screw that up? I'm not getting drags anymore, but we kind of weren't mostly. Actually, when I init the text input, that might be creating a state. No, it's not. Okay. Grab a common text input. Did I? No, that's still there. Let's just see what happens. Like it could be that this just doesn't work on the first frame because some other variable, yeah. So that's pretty weird. Let's just step into this in the debugger, because at this point, I'm not sure why we aren't finding the thing, and it might be pretty straightforward. Okay, so text input. what function are we looking at? In the draw function, okay. Okay. Boom. We don't even get to there. We don't even get cursor tracking mouse. So it's probably start selecting. Okay. Handle event. We got to drag out of that one. Right. Okay, so this is again a weird, confusing scenario because like all this stuff is in the draw function for text input, which doesn't get called if it's not supposed to be active. Like this only gets called if the thing is so maybe actually maybe now that it's fixed. Oh, I get it. The only reason this worked before was because we were looking at the wrong frickin' guy. I mean, it was the right guy, but the wrong guy, right? So now, okay, let's verify this. These should work, right? Yes. So my cursor shows up in the right place here. The only reason that doesn't happen here is because we aren't calling the same routine now, which we were only calling before by mistake. And that routine has start selecting in it. Yeah. Okay. Let's see where you at now. Boom. 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 Look, not only is it highlighting each time, we're not getting weird drags in there. All this to do my optimization of shared text input, which probably doesn't fucking matter, honestly. But, you know, we work for a living, you know? So GG's on that. We will say fixed weird drags that showed up when clicking between number inputs. Okay, and I have some no check-ins in here to delete. This is all not a thing. That is not a thing. Okay. I realized this wasn't, yeah, okay. Never mind. Just make sure that we still working. We still working. All right. That's good. Let's make this a little more compact. Okay. Already half a page of value. I know, it's crazy, dude. Raphael's been doing a lot of bindings generator stuff, which is great. Hopefully, it's reaching a point where he could do other things, because I don't want him to burn out on bindings generator. Does he stream the work on that? Is that what you mean? I mean, it is a very, very hard job, because like C++ is a big mess, right? And it's like you're trying to interface with C++, but to do that, you have to understand all of C++ potentially, which we aren't going to do, right? So you have to kind of figure it out somehow, and do the best you can for the people. But it's a great improvement over how it was before. Okay. I am very happy. Oh, let's just check to make sure that we didn't break the normal text inputs, which I don't think we did, but just we're just making sure, guys. Now see, even with the needing the double click, there was a little voice in my head going, "Oh, that's not that bad of a bug. You don't have to fix it, right?" And then especially once I got that one, and then it was the first 10 clicks is fine, then it's like, "Oh, it's not that bad." And then once I was getting the mystery drags after I'd fixed that, it's like, "Well, drags, those are a little messy, but it's no big deal." And it's like, "No, man. Like, either you're in control of your software or you're not." And almost nobody is, as evidenced by all the software we were running every day. And so we have to go after these things. We can't let them stick around. Even in this widget set it's not a fully featured widget set that everyone can just use. Maybe someday it'll be that. It's good if you just want some little buttons and stuff and some windows and some scroll bars, but like the DRM GUI interface gives you a lot more of different widgets with different functions on them. But this is sort of also, in addition to being a widget set, it's just an example of like, look, here's how you do something like this in this language, right? And as such, it's just gotta be decent, you know? It's just gotta be decent. Mostly working on the FBX plugin. Anyway, it might be bedtime again. It's a little bit of an early bedtime. It's like 10 p.m., but I've been a little tired today. I had wanted to do actual bananas stuff. I'm trying to convince myself maybe to stay up a little bit more and work on the banana stuff, but I think I'm going to do bed. I think I'm going to call it Miller time and say, hey, good job, man. And I'll work on it in the morning when I'm fresh. I do have a bunch of meetings tomorrow, sadly. I mean, it's good to talk to the people, but like, it takes up a block of time. And but okay, so next time we'll do some more banana stuff. Like I want to make those code metrics a little bit better, and I want to make display of them a little bit better. So that is going to be a thing for the future. But yeah, we got some bugs nailed down, and we got error reporting in, when you try to launch a process. That by itself, like it's been a 2-hour stream, guys. Even if I spent the entire 2 hours making that one function return that error, even with the small user base that we have of 152 beta users, probably that's already a net win, right? Like if even 20 beta users, like even if we never add any more beta users, which we will, right? But if we never did, if even 20 people ever tried to launch processes using that module and the error code being ambiguous and not telling them what was running that failed and whatever cost them 6 minutes average, that's 2 hours, right? So the break-even point for this kind of work in terms of saving people, and it didn't take me 2 hours, right? It was like the first hour or whatever. Like the break-even point on this kind of work is really very early. Is that an if it saves even one life, it was worth it argument? It's not even that. No, it's because the if it saves one life argument is sort of about trading off two different currencies, one of which is human life, which is valued incredibly high, right? Here we're trading equal for equal. I mean, we're my time for somebody else's time, but we're just talking about how much time. And for the amount of time to be equal, that the amount of time it took me to fix it equals or is less than the amount of time saved for the people, very easy to hit that point. Very easy. It's the problem about wrapping C++ live. Yeah, the problem is somebody has some code that they wrote in C++, and you want to be able to call into their code. And how do you do that in any language that's not C++? Now, C has a relatively straightforward calling convention, although even that is kind of hairy and nasty for what it is. It could be a lot simpler. It did used to be simpler in the olden days, but C++ is just incredibly gnarly, dude. So there's like, how do you call into that from another programming language. And then, how do you know what the data you need the data structures that you pass into that. So you need in your language equivalent definitions of the data structures that are in C++. And that can just be insane because it's classes with multiple inheritance, with, all kinds of like weird things happening, and macros, and God only knows. Oh, templates, of course. Templated parameter, templates of templated parameters. It can get nuts really fast. So, yeah. And really, any language has to deal with that. For us, because we're coming from a heavy C++ culture, like video game people are going to have a lot of C++ code that they want to deal with. So it's more important for us than some other languages. I actually kind of wonder what someone like Rust does for this. C# is more forgiving? No. C# is, if anything, crazier because you have to call into a big runtime. That said, almost nobody cares about calling C# code from another language. So it is what it is. Simply because C# is a language with such a heavy runtime and such a big GC penalty and stuff, nobody wants to use a C++ library or a C# library because it has all those downsides. So there's just not a culture of doing that. Optional in-memory cache to hold some sort of compilation artifacts to speed up recompilation for huge projects. No, I think that's no. We're not going to do that. It's just over complicating things, and our goal is just to compile fast. Why do you need that if you compile fast? Oh, I see. C# should be easier to parse because it doesn't have anything like templates or macros. I see. So from that standpoint, that is probably true. Like C++ is very annoying to try and parse, yes. I was just thinking about the calling into it part. All right, everybody. I think this has been a good stream, if a little bit short. And a little bit, we didn't do anything spectacular, but we just did like good programming. We fixed 3 different problems. And that's great. All you got to do is keep doing that. Oh, let's see what the compiler size is. Now, the thing is, a lot of it is headers for the inline assembly. So the line count like bloated way up. So 20,000 lines is just a giant table. All right. So if you do not count that as actual code, then, we're 69,420 lines of code. Actually, we're probably 69,105, but the 4 here was just a little bit. Yeah. Can't believe that file's only 1,000 lines. Oh, well, the header's kind of big as well. Don't ask about the tables. Indeed, that is true. All right, everybody. Signing off. I will see y'all later on. Yeah, this is not counting Sokoban. Sokoban lines of code is this much. Well, that also includes the modules that Sokoban imports. See y'all later. Bye-bye.